Hello, welcome to the queue. It is part 4 of Invasion Normandy Turn 1 walkthrough. And before we get going, we have a saying in our YouTube Wars chat that once the camera goes on, the brain goes off. And that's exactly what happened on part 3 there. I've got some planes here that when we did our check the aircraft availability, I said we had one beach open, so the Canadians attacked this zone. Right next to it is a second beach. So I have no idea how I didn't see that. So that means that the British here from Gold Beach have two tactical bombers and a fighter, and Germany also gets another fighter. So knowing that I would have had two opportunities, I would have doubled up this fighter. So we'll roll that as is. Now, they did shoot down the German fighter, but it's not a loss. It just goes back into the Air Force pool and comes back next turn. The way you get rid of the German fighters is by capturing these airfields around the map. So since we have an added aircraft opportunity here, close air support, since we showed how to do the attack units, we'll use these two tactical bombers and attack non-unit. And it's a different situation. So we got the fighter as escort, and we'll have the two Germans there. The other thing that I think I rolled wrong is in this close air support battle, I rolled the interception all at once, and it's actually two phases. First, the fighters square off. So we have two German fighters and one British fighter, and they're at 3. So everyone hit. So that means this British fighter goes into the replacement pool. One of these German fighters goes back to the German pool. We did shoot down an aircraft, so now our bonus goes from 2 to 4. So every time you shoot down an aircraft, it's a bonus 2, which helps in the replacements. So that's why we would double up to get better rolls. All right, so now the second phase is this one fighter now intercepts against those two. So this time the German dice will be the blue at 3 and then the two tacticals at 1. And nothing. All right. So had the German fighter got a hit, so then only one would be able to attack that coastal gun. So your attack for the tactical bombers on a non-combat unit is different. You can't do damage, so you're going to roll a 5 or less, and it's destroyed. The target is destroyed. So we've got 2 dice, 5 or less. Well, that's a 10 and a 1, so we'll re-roll that one. It's a 1. So that coastal gun is destroyed. So those are your two options. You can damage, a land unit or a combat unit, or you can destroy, the coastal gun. You could take these two bombers on each side, since it's within 3 of those British units, and try and destroy this rail line. So that will keep the Germans from getting reinforcements in there. So that's another option. So anyway, then these would just go back to the ready box, and you just have the one fighter left for the next turn, and then this would go back to the German aircraft pool box. So that's what I missed, and that's where we are. So this part 4 here, we'll look at the book here. We are ready for Allied mechanized movement. And really, there's only 2 opportunities on turn 1 here. We can move this tank 1 hex, and road movement does not count. In normal movement, this tank could move, it would be a half a point as long as I followed the road. So you could technically go 4 hexes. In this special movement, you can only go 1 hex. So he could go here, but now he's going to be alone, not in a good spot. There's nothing that I got to get out of the way, so we're going to leave him. Over here, though, we are going to move this tank because it's alone. In the swamp, we could follow the road, but on this movement, it's only one, so it doesn't matter. And we'll get to move it again at the end. So I think we'll move it here with these British guys. There's some juicy targets, but there's immediate counterattack that wipes them out. So not really worth giving the Germans a bonus for taking back a victory hex, because that's an additional 2 every time they take back a victory hex. So you have to kind of choose wisely when you're going there. All right, so that would be it. So the Allied attack is next. And if you remember, you don't move into the hex, you attack from the hex you're in. So we're just going to work our way down the beach, and I will explain each attack. Most of them are straightforward because you can only go forward. So we've got 3 infantry and an armor against that 1 infantry. Now the 3 infantry are at -1 because they're still on the beach. They're trying to get off the beach. So they would have had to roll a 1. They failed. The tank rolls at a 5. It fails. All right. And here we go. They're getting off the beach, or they're getting destroyed by that fortification. 2 first strikes at 5. Whoa. So the infantry bites the dust, but the armor is allowed to conquer that because there's no defending infantry. So they will advance after combat, and we will place a marker. And you could do this one of 2 ways. You could flip the marker. Well, no, I guess you can't because the backsides are printed. That's how I did it in the other, when I play tested this before. So you could add that right on right now. So we'll go up to 4 and 4. And if you remember, this is the German reinforcement points, and it's also the victory hexes, how you determine if you win the game. This is the German activation points, and we'll see that on the German turn, how that comes into play. All right, so the next battle is 4 infantry and an armor. So they didn't lose anybody last turn, or on those previous rounds. So we'll roll 4 infantry at 1. There's a hit. We got the tank at a 5. And that's a miss. So the beach is held by the Germans. They got 2 back at 4. And they get 1, so we'll lose 1 of those infantry. And they hold the beach. Next, we go into the Rangers on that coastal gun. The coastal gun doesn't have a defense, so the Rangers just need to get a hit. 3 at 3. So they got 2 hits. So that coastal gun is gone. And the Rangers now may advance into the victory hex. And we're going to have to punch out another roundel. There we go. And I'm just going to move it on my own here, 5 and 5, instead of moving the camera. All right, so next, Omaha, painful. There's 4 infantry in each beach right now. So let's roll. Oh, we got to do the first strikes actually first from the fortifications. So 2 at 5. There's 1 hit. And as crazy as it seems, that's a good thing. The next beach is 2 at 5 as well, and there's no hits. All right, so Dog Beach, 3 dice at 1. Oh, they do get a hit, so that's cool. And then Easy Beach, they have 4 dice at 1. And they get a hit, so that's it. That one is cleared, so they get to move forward, and that will be another victory hex. So that puts the victory points up to 6. I'll move that up over here. Next, we've got this here. So remember, this infantry's damaged, so he's going to be -2 to his defense. So we got these coming up. We got the fort first, but these 3 here are going to join in. So we're trying to guarantee we get off the beach. That's the most important thing on turn 1. All right, so the German coastal, or the German fort, oh, it gets 2 hits. So that's 2 infantry that bite the dust there. All right, so now off the beach is the tank at 5. And it misses. So from the side, though, they're off the beach. Well, they're on the beach. That was a 5. These 3 units are off of the beach, so they're at normal now. So the infantry attack at 2, and the tank will attack at 6. And the tank gets a hit, so that German infantry is gone, fortification's gone. Let's defend now that 1 German infantry behind a fort. 2 damage, defends at a 4, misses. All right. So now we're going to move this tank forward after the battle. I think it might be wise. Well, no, that's a victory hex. We don't want to give that back to the Germans. So we're going to leave those units there. All right, the Canadians, they will do the same thing. These 3 will attack. Oh, wait a minute, that's a fort. Empty fort. So we'll just have to roll for the fort, and then they get to walk in. So these units here, 4 infantry and a tank will attack that coastal gun. Try and get rid of that. So 4 at 2. Oh, and then the tank is a 6. And oh, well, coastal gun survives. All right, so here is the fortification against 1 hit against the Canadians on the beach. So they'll lose an infantry. The fort's gone, and they will now go in and claim that. So I need to move up 2 more victory hexes. So they'll be at 8. All right. Next, this was cleared by aircraft, I believe. So they will attack, basically, and then follow up, and they get to move in. So that is a walk-on. And it will also be the same here. We'll have these 2 commandos attack that coastal artillery. And then these 3 will... that's a good question. Yeah, because I don't want to lose the commandos. So let's lose or shoot the fortification. 2 at 5. First strikes, 1 hit. So that will be that last British infantry. All right, so Weestrum falls. So what happens here is the the British tank and the French infantry move into Weestrum. There was a French resistance unit there. Now that it's been liberated, this actually becomes a French infantry. So now we've got 3 there. We're going to roll that, and hopefully we get a kill. 2 at 3. Got a hit. All right, so that coastal gun is gone. And we're already in the hex, so we don't need to move forward. So Maryville, that gun battery's gone. All right, so that pretty much is the end of the combat. Let me see, because I could do some airborne combat. It seems like it would be wise to go in here, and we'll do that, even though there's that mine there. So they'll be, that's right, they don't move. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they're going to get 5 dice at 2 for that mine. The Germans do. Nothing. All right. So the airborne, 3 airborne alone is 4. So, and it doesn't matter about the other. So it's be 5 at 4. And of course they get a 2. So they get a hit. So that means that this here is a static infantry, but it does defend at a 4. And it gets a hit. So we'll lose an airborne, but we clear that flak battery, which actually is super huge. And these, well, they will advance because I don't want to be next to those Germans there. We want to get close to the beach. So I don't think there's any other attacks. I mean, this would be one-on-one. That ain't going to work. So that would be it. Let me look at the British. We could do this and try and clear this. Well, yeah, why don't we do that? So 2 airborne is at 3. So we got, whoa, almost lost the dice. This is going to be hard rolling left-handed. 2 at 3. So they do get him. All right, so the German fires back at a 4, and he misses. So that worked out nicely. So that German's gone. That's not a victory hex. We don't want to be next to 2 hexes where Germans can counterattack, so we will stay. So that worked out nicely. All right, so that's the end of the Allied attack phase. Next will be the Allied movement phase. Well, we're at 15. So this will just be a longer part video, because that'll be pretty fast actually. So the movement phase, we could move out, but then we'd be alone with that tank, and we do not want that. These guys can't advance, and these guys can't advance because the Germans still hold the beach. These guys here will come down the road to K19, and they'll help clear that beach for the Allies. I mean, they'll have these guys as well. So it'll be a massive assault on that to clear that off. The British, we could move this tank here to consolidate because there's no Germans vehicles that can get into that beach to liberate it. So we're good there. The Canadians, will move forward 1 just to be moving. We will move these Canadians off the, well, yeah, they're blocking that rail line, so we'll move them 1. Over here, we've got, let's show you how the hedgerow works. We're going to move these 2 infantry and the Tetrarch tank across, and the reason why this is a dangerous move is because whenever an Allied unit moves along a hedgerow lined hex with Germans on the other side, they get a defensive role, and the Allies do not get to fight back. So it's like an ambush. So, and there's 1, 2 units, the flak does not count. So it'll be 2. It doesn't matter what kind of units they are, they just get to roll 2. So that hedgerow defensive roll is a 2 at 2, and they miss both. So you got to see how the hedgerow works there. So super deadly if you're going down the line and there's Germans in all these spots. You want to avoid that. The 2 commandos, we don't want them exposed, so we're going to move them into the town. And remember that it is a 5 unit limit. So we got 2 French, a tank, and 2 commandos. So that's your 5 units. All right, so that is the end of the Allied movement phase. Next is the Allied reinforcement phase, and then we'll call it good for there on part 4 here. So here's where we're going to look at, and I'm going to set, whoa, sorry about that. I'm going to set the camera down because it's going to be easier for me to maneuver. So here we can get 5 units in there. Well, we got 3 infantry and 1 tank. So we're going to bring this tank in off of the follow-up box. In this C-zone we've cleared, so we can bring full 5 units. Well, we don't have 5 because we lost some units to the coastal guns and E-boats. Or coastal, I think it was coastal guns and E-boats. I know the E-boats hit. So this box here is only can go this way, and this box here can only go this way. So that's why there's only 3 there. So that's kind of huge there that there's not much to follow up. Now we've got 4 units, so 1 can go on. We're going to bring the tank, and then we'll show you after I move on to the beach how we repopulate these boxes. All right, sliding down. Here's Omaha Beach. So we've got 3 infantry there, so we're going to bring the engineer to boost our attack and 1 armor. Easy Beach is open, so we can bring all 5. There's 2 tanks, 2 infantry, so we must have lost something to a coastal gun. And then we'll bring our medic on, which doesn't count in the stacking purposes. So that's it for that. Let's move down to the next beach. All right. Get out of the way there, buddy. So both beaches are open, so we can move all 5 units on. There's 3 infantry, 1 tank, so we must have lost something there. And then the medic comes on. J25, we've got all 5 units. We've got an engineer, medium armor, and 3 infantry. All right. Well, come on. Next up, Canadian Beach, Juneau. Now, here we've got 2 open beaches, but on Mike Beach here in J27, we only have a medic, an armor, and an infantry left. The other beach in K28, we've got our engineer, our tank, and 3 infantry for our 5. All right. And the last beach, I'm messing up German units here. Both are open, so we can bring all units on. So on L30 is a engineer and 3 infantry. And then on L31 is the medic and 3 infantry. All right, so that's where the E-boats and the coastal artillery has reduced the Allied imprint. But they did get off a lot of beaches. Matter of fact, I got to mark 2 more British beaches there. And then I'll have to double check before the end of the turn what that victory point and reinforcement point count is. All right. So let's move up to more of the reinforcement phase. So that is what comes out of the next wave box into the beach. Next is the follow-up box into the 2 boxes that go onto the distinctive beaches. So you always have to have 1 infantry in each box, but we've got 4 in there. So we're going to bring in 4 infantry. We're going to bring in the artillery and a motorized or mechanized because they can tow. And the same thing there. And we're also going to bring in a tank. So each beach here is equal in what we can do. Now we get to put 10 units in the follow-up box. 2 must be infantry. We're going to go ahead and get some infantry on the board because the Battle of Caen is coming. So that's 4 infantry. Let's get 2 more artillery and 2 more mechanized. So that is 8. So that leaves us with 2. Let's bring in 2 armor. And this is where I said earlier, you can win the game, lose the game right here, but you won't know until you actually play it a couple times what's best to bring in. I just recommend that you don't fill it with all your tanks and then lose them all right off the bat. All right, so here we're going to do 2 and 2 because we had 4 infantry. I'll take one off the dead pile there. Oh, that doesn't matter. So we're going to bring in the engineer. Now the forts are cleared, so it doesn't really matter where the engineer goes. We've got a mech and an artillery and an armor. And then this other one is just an armor and an artillery. Now 10 more go here, so we'll do the same. 4 infantry, 2 artillery, 2 mechanized, 2 armor. So I'm not going to do that the rest of the way down because it's going to be the same thing. As a matter of fact, I probably don't need to finish doing that. I think you guys get the idea. Got to have infantry, And the way I had it laid out, I've got my armor and artillery and engineers. So it's going to be the same. Now here it's going to be a little different because we already have units in the box. So we already have 3 units in this box here for J20. So we can only put 2. So we'll do an artillery and a mechanized infantry. Easy box here is open. So we'll put 2 infantry, artillery, mechanized, and I don't know if we'll need that because we're off the beach, so that engineer. So the armor goes in there. So that means we've got 3 left in the follow-up box here. Now only 7 can come down. So that's kind of how that works. And it's going to be even worse here on Utah Beach because these 2 boxes, well, this one has 4 and this one has 3. So we can only bring 1 to this box. We'll bring 2 to this box here. Oh, you know what? Medics don't count. So that is 4. So we can bring that other tank. All right. So that's that. So this box can be up to 5. So that will be that. And those 2. And we'll throw that engineer in there because the engineer actually gets to move 2. So that leaves 2 there. So we can bring 8 down. All right. So that is a walkthrough of the Allied attack. They get to advance after the attack, which you saw here, which is a unique feature because the Germans are the opposite. They get to move and then attack. So that's why this here could be a danger zone, because they're going to be able to reinforce these 2 hexes here if they want and counterattack that beach. And they could take it back. And then that's going to leave these guys in a pickle. We'll see if the Germans do that or not. So that is it. Let's count. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so they'll be up to 10. And the activation points for the Germany will be at 10. So that means we'll get to move 10 hexes worth of units next here on the German reinforcement phase, or the German movement phase. And then we have $10 plus our 4 bonus, so 14 to buy units with. And we'll look at that on part 5. Thanks for watching. This was a little longer, but I think we needed to keep all that Allied movement and reinforcement and attacking on the same video.